Hey guys, Keely Reason here, owner of Love Hope Adventure, where I talk about the marriage, relationship, intimacy, and marriage, and how you can go deeper with your spouse. And today I'm answering a reader's question about how much should you share about your sex life in a public setting. And here's her question. The women in our church started doing a class called Awaken Love, which has been received pretty well. It's sparked a great deal of conversation between men and women and couples about sex. It's normalized the subject in a way that I think is great. It's also really interesting to hear about other couples' sex lives. Some people are willing to share more than others, such as the positions they like, toys they use, whether or not they like oral sex. But my question is, how much should I share? I know this is more about a wisdom perspective versus right or wrong answer, but what is your wisdom? Okay, so for me, obviously, I'm a YouTube speaker, so everybody is watching my videos. I'm pretty guarded about what I share from a personal perspective on the internet because everybody is there. If you're in a safe space, if it's in a private space, hopefully you have more trust among those people and there is a way to share more openly about things. But I can only share my personal experience and what I do. So online, I never share a personal preference. I'm going to answer the questions that come in from a research based position. Some wives like this, some husbands like that. Some people do it one way or the other. This information is going to come from many different sources. Research that I've done with other blog friends, books I've read, personal experience. I just don't really share one thing or another about what I do or don't like. So that is my wisdom, especially if you're going to be public at all. Now, when you're in a group setting, I think it really depends on the group, where you're at, what the purpose of the group is. So last year, Austin and I went to a marriage retreat put on by our friend Dan Purcell at Get Your Marriage On, and it was very sex focused. He had a lot of education about sex during that weekend. All of us couples were together. We did not get all separated. Now, the people that were part of that are people that have been going through the coaching with him. So they were already in a position where they were more open about asking questions about sex. However, that is definitely the most open I've ever seen couples be in comfort levels talking about sex. I think it can be really, really beneficial when you are all there asking questions on how to just have a better intimate life with your spouse and asking some personal questions. I think that can be okay. But you have to just be with your spouse in agreement about what's okay and what's not okay. If you and your spouse are struggling with something that they may consider to be embarrassing and they really don't want to have that be public knowledge, you two have to come to an agreement on that. So part of this comes from, what does my spouse think is okay or not okay? And ask them in this setting, in this group, what are you okay with me sharing? What are you okay with me asking? Now, I'm not saying that your friends are doctors, but if you were to go to your doctor and ask a question about sexual health, these conversations are fairly normal. You just assume that your doctor has had them, right? That may not always be the case in a setting with other couples. However, you can get there by just the way you're answering it. Coming at it from a point of view where I have an issue or I have a problem and I would love somebody to share with me how they've addressed this. Not in a way like, let's all get each other sexually aroused. I mean, listen, there are a lot of people out there and groups out there that are okay with that. But the people who watch my channel, a lot of times that's not what they're okay with. They are looking for God honoring conversations with other couples. So definitely, what's your own personal comfort level? What is your spouse's comfort level? And then just come at these things from a point of view of, there is an issue, I'm trying to get answered, or maybe this other person has an issue. So in this situation, I want to share something personal with them that will help them through that problem. I think that this can be very, very helpful. But if you get to the end of it and you start feeling regret over it, then obviously back that off the next time you're in the group setting and be more guarded and be more careful. Hopefully, this answers your questions. And if anyone has any comments, please sure to leave them below on how you've handled this. Thanks so much, and I'll chat with you later.